Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. The Champions League is back. Barcelona have hurt me once again. It's been an up and down ride so far as we've had 3 days of Champions League. We have two huge clashes this weekend, one in England when Manchester City host Arsenal, and then we turn to Italy where we have the Milan Derby. And because we have so much to talk about over in Italy, we welcome back Nick Dianni. You can follow him at Nick Dianni. You can follow his podcast at Kicks Picks Pod. Nick, it's great to be here. We have so many games that we're going to touch on. Actually, not as many as usual, but I'm going to let you slander Roma real quick, who...
Oh, we're going to start with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
I love
start
it.
with
I
it.
love it. No, listen, hey,
Because
first of all,
Roma
go.
were a betting darling of this podcast for the second half of last season. Once De Rossi came in, they were a lock to get 2 goals. Team
Yes.
total over 1.5 was a lock that we played all the time on this show. They gave
Until
him
they
4
weren't.
games, and he's
Until
gone.
they weren't.
Until they weren't.
Because he fell off a cliff the back half of the year. Not the back half, the last 5 or 6 games of the season. I don't think they got a win. So the signs were there. His previous job, I think he coached 13 games in second division prior to this. So the track record really wasn't there. And I've kind of made this unfortunate statement. I hate that I had to make it, but anybody that's a fan of Serie A, anybody that's Italian, you hold these guys in high regard. De Rossi, Pirlo, Grosso, Nesta, Pippo Inzaghi. They all flat out suck as coaches. Now, I'm not saying De Rossi got put in the best situation. I think, it was never going to be easy to follow Mourinho, but doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing either. So I think there's plenty of blame to go around. We're joking with Steve on our podcast. Everybody was talking about Roma, that what a summer transfer window they had. Look at these guys they brought in. They kept Dybala. This is going to be great. Well, here we are, 4 games into the season. Same old Roma. They have 6 points to make up to get back into Champions League spot. They really haven't played any of their rivals. It's not looking good.
Yeah, my Roma to finish in the top 4 plus 200 ticket is looking like an absolute donation to the books right now.
Yes, it is.
Not a cheeky play. Not happy about it. I mean, I guess, you know what? Like, if you know that it's not working, pull the plug early. I totally get that.
That's the move.
I want to reference what you said. I want to make one quick funny joke about you reference Pirlo, you reference De Rossi, et cetera, et cetera. You know what they say? Those who can't do teach, and those who can't teach Jim. And just because you're a great footballer does not mean you're a great coach. Maybe Xavi takes the Roma job. I think that'd be very fun for him. I'm just throwing out names. Who knows? We're going to talk about another club in Italy that could be looking for a new manager as soon as this weekend, towards the tail end of the podcast. Look out for that. Let's go back to the Premier League. Let's talk about a team that used to be managed by an Italian. They're not anymore. That is Leicester. They are taking on Everton. We're skipping the 7:30 window. We're going right to what is an early season relegation 6-pointer in the Premier League. Everton, man. You hate to see a team, I particularly, with all of this behind me, hate to see a team blow 2-goal leads like that. It just breaks my heart. Really, it really breaks my heart. A couple ways to attack this game, because I think Leicester get the win. Leicester team total over 1.5 is plus 136. Leicester and both teams to score is plus 380. Both teams to score has hit in all 4 Leicester games this season. But this is my favorite. This is probably my lock of the game. If we want to get serious, the over 2.5 at minus 122. It's hitting 5 out of 6 Everton games in all 4 in all their competitions. It's hitting all 4 EPL games. It's hitting 3 of the 4 for Leicester, 3 of the 4 EPL for Leicester, 4 of the 5 in all comps for Leicester. You want to take that up to over 3.5, like I very well might. 3 of the 4 Everton EPL matches, 1 of the 4 Leicester matches, 2 in all 5 for Leicester. We were seeing goals at both ends for both of these teams. Their defense is awful. Somehow they're able to score goals. I didn't even look up the number, but frankly, Everton team total over 1.5 probably should be on your card. Everton to score the first goal probably should be on your card. Weird that we're talking this much about Everton, but I see goals in this game, and over 2.5 at minus 122 for these two teams that stink defensively is a gift.
Also, my play for this game is the over 2.5. Listen, I've been dead wrong on Everton because for 2 years I've rooted for them to go down because I thought it'd be a great story. And last year they were like sneakily good. And I kind of bought the Kool-Aid. I'm like, all right, they beat the financial fair play allegations kind of by, sticking it to the league and realistically like finishing mid-table if it wasn't for that points deduction. So it didn't affect them, right? They beat it in the sense that it didn't affect them. I said, okay, this team turned the corner. There's 3 teams, 4 teams, definitely worse than Everton this year. Um, Looks like I was wrong. They look absolutely fucking awful, but like they have to win this game. They have to. They have no alternative. You need to win this game. So I would not be mad if anybody took Everton plus 175. I wouldn't be mad if you took them draw no bet at even money. But the play is the over. The play is
The
100% the over. I absolutely agree. Neither of these teams play defense. Kind of seems like Jamie Vardy's inevitable in this game. Maybe even Calvert-Lewin. I think they're like good numbers. You can get like plus 200 in any of these guys. I don't really care who you take. Pick your favorite. Don't pick Beto because that dude doesn't score ever. Just does
no,
hard work.
no, that guy does
It's the
nothing.
over. It's the over. It's
Uh,
100% the over.
a couple quick update on numbers of things we just referenced. First of all, the Everton team total over 1.5 is plus 136. The Leicester total has dropped down to plus 124. Both of those are playable for me.
Yes.
Um,
Have to be.
y-
Well,
you
somebody's got to
play
get two.
yeah, exactly. You mentioned Calvert-Lewin, he's plus 200. You mentioned Jamie Vardy, he's plus 220. You know who I do like for Leicester is Mavididi.
Yeah.
He's not bad. He's plus 230. These are all anytime goal score numbers. You want to take any of them, score or assist, and we're not you don't see Jamie Vardy scoring or assisting a lot, but you're getting a plus number for the opportunity of them to create a goal in this game, which is incredible value. Um, there's a lot of other tricky games in the 10 o'clock window. Will I have something on my card for Liverpool against Bournemouth? Yes. I don't feel confident enough in anything in that because first I tell you Liverpool's an under team, then they go and blow out Milan. Um, Last week I told you both teams to score no because Liverpool are going to win in a shutout and they get shut out. So I don't. We're five games into the Arne Slot
I mean,
era.
you hit the bet.
I hit the bet. It hurt. It hurt. It was
You
like
hit the bet.
I'm gonna cash this, but it hurts me internally. Um, I'll find something day of. But let's jump to 12:30. I don't have a ton to say about this game other than this is just a pure gut play. Crystal Palace are playing Manchester United. Man United teeing off in the midweek in Carabao Cup, putting up a touchdown, including the extra point, 7-0. Good for them. They played Barnsley and the future American goalkeeper, maybe, and Gaga Slonina, who will probably never play a game for Chelsea. Um, Palace draw no bet at plus 104 for a home game for Palace is something I absolutely feel okay playing. Just on the pure, I know Palace haven't totally figured it out, but I more bank on the fact that Manchester United have also not figured it out. This one kind of seems like probably a score draw, so maybe just play the draw. I just haven't seen enough from United to think that they can go to a tough ground in Selhurst Park and get a result so far this season. I'm not going to say that Palace have been excellent yet, but I want to believe.
This is when they pop up and do it. You picked the wrong guy to pick to talk about a Palace game because this is a team week in and week out for 5 seasons now. Can't figure them out. They look great one week, they're terrible the next. They upset somebody, they lose to uh, I don't know, the Ipswich, whoever, the worst team possible. So I don't know what to do with the Palace. I will say that like the books are just absolutely dangling these numbers in front of us. Man United plus 135, a Newcastle plus 145. It's Brighton minus 130. Like they're all right there. And I'm probably passing on this game, but like, why is Man United plus 135? I don't know. I don't have it.
Because they're not legit. They're not they're so fraudulent. Like
For
I
sure.
I think they're like they finished what seventh in the Premier League last year or eighth in the Premier League last year. I think they're very comfortably in the exact same spot and they spent millions this offseason and they look the exact same, if not worse. You mentioned one of those trap games. It's Brighton, Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest undefeated on the season. They haven't played much. They've done okay.
Yeah.
I watched Brighton in the Carabao Cup in the midweek. I was on at the same time in Champions League, but I watched that. You can guess why. um, I really like Brighton team total over 1.5 minus 105. They are flying offensively. They look really good. Um, I think Brighton team total over 1.5 is going to be one of those like as long as it's minus 130 or better, it's an auto play. because they can score against anyone. I know these Forest games have kind of gone under, but I do think Brighton are just gonna be relentless and push and push and push. Um, I had on here Brighton and over 1.5, but I actually don't like that value because I kind of like Brighton and both teams to score at plus 240 even more because I don't see I see Forest doing something in this game. Maybe it's just a both teams to score play. Maybe it's an over 2.5 play. This game is very trappy, but I think Brighton can do what Liverpool couldn't last week. And it's not like Liverpool did everything right. They just didn't finish their chances. Like they had balls in the right spot. The keeper had a hell of a day at Anfield, and they got lucky on one counterattack. Um, and I think the Brighton attack is one of the top five, top six in the Prem. And I don't know if Forest are going to be able to hold out 2 weeks in a row and keep two clean sheets in two tough places to go on the road.
Over 2.5 minus 130. That's where my head was at the whole time. I agree. Good on Forest. I think they're probably due for some sort of loss. Maybe even Brighton's due to look bad. I mean, I don't know. Anything could happen in this game. Man, I based on the form, like I want to do a stupid parlay of like Forest +2 and Wolves +2 and just see what happens. And it's like around even money ish, just just for shits and giggles. But no, I think there's goals in this one. I think Brighton probably does score two. I see a 2-1 game in this one.
All right, big one in England. We got Manchester City against Arsenal. A lot of factors to bring up here. Number one, let's talk about the injuries and the suspensions. Arsenal going to be without Martin Odegaard, going to be out without Declan Rice, who's still suspended from that very dumb red card that he took. Manchester City sound like they're going to be out without Kevin De Bruyne. It's not expected to be a long-term injury, but they don't want it to become a long-term injury, so they're going to hold him out of this game. Um, City playing Wednesday at home in the Champions League. Arsenal playing this afternoon in Bergamo, or this evening in Bergamo on this is Thursday. We're taping this. Having to fly back Thursday night to get ready for Manchester City on the road Sunday. And let me tell you, the lines don't make sense. Manchester City money line at minus 130, absolutely playable number. That's probably the best City money line we will get until they go to Anfield or until they go to Arsenal. I think that I'm playing that. I initially circled City and over 1.5 at plus 115, but I found a different strategy because I think this game is just as likely to end 1-0 with
Yep.
Arsenal just stacking the box, playing all defense. Calafiori coming back for them today. City and under 4.5 is even money. There's I
Yeah.
like there's no way there's four
Oh
goals
yeah.
in this game, and I don't see a situation where City don't win. This covers
No.
you for the the 1-0 win, 2-0 win, 3-0 win. It covers you for a 2-1, for a 3-1. If I don't see this one turning into a shootout. Um and last year, the two games they played, one goal. It was the Declan Rice goal. I think it was like the 80 something minute for Arsenal at home. It was 0-0 at City in the spring. But when was the last time we saw City play, or when was the last time we saw Arsenal play a massive game without their two midfield talismans? I know uh, you're gonna see Havertz drop into that number 10 role, and that's fine. They don't have an out and out striker to attack the spot, and I'm sorry if you're gonna run Partey and Jorginho at the base of that midfield against Manchester City. I don't like that at
Yeah.
all. Um, and Erling Haaland is anytime goal scorer plus 125, which again is
Uh-huh.
the best number you're going to see for him. And two goals is over plus 550. I don't think that's a smart play just because I think Arsenal have one of the best defenses in the league and they're going to shut it down. Nothing happened in this. Atalanta should have gotten a win. My draw no bet ticket at plus 210
100%.
should have cashed today. Retegi, our guy,
I know.
let us down twice.
Yeah. Poor
Um,
game. Poor
Poor
game
game.
from him.
Um, But yeah, I think City money line's easy play. I like the City in under 4.5. You're trying to get it up to a better number. And Holland anytime goal scorer has to be on the card. The man, I mean, he's second most
He's
informed
on
striker on
fire.
the planet.
On fire. I have to agree with all that. I think there's a ton of things that you said that I just agree with that I don't even really need to elaborate on, but I'm going to try to. Um, Arsenal's they've impressed me so far this year because they've had a really tough schedule and they haven't really looked out of place, but no, this isn't the spot for them. They, like you said, they got outplayed today. Uh, After 45 minutes, I texted the guys on my show and I was like, Scotty. So Scott's play of the week was Man City money line. It was at minus 130. It's now minus 120. He hasn't lost, a bet yet that he's given out on the show, so he's crushing so far. And after 45 minutes, I just texted them. I'm like, the City is going to steamroll Arsenal the way they just played these 45 minutes. And the next 45 didn't make me feel any better about them. So I'm with you 100%. It's like eventually they're going to need to win this game if they're realistically going to challenge for a title. But I think this is just too much in a condensed period for Arsenal. Too many injuries to overcome. As you said, the goal scoring is just not there for them. I see a City pretty comfortable winning this one.
If I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at the guy who scored Tuesday night for Sporting, and that he has £100 million, 100 million release clause, and I'm getting him in the door
January.
January 1.
Yep.
I'm talking about Victor Gyökeres, again, one of the three most informed strikers on the planet right now. Plus 120 anytime goal scorer. He is an auto bet anytime goal scorer every single Champions League game. They don't have a very tough game at all on the road. Auto bet every round for the rest of the Champions League stage. Yeah, you got to place that. But if I'm Arsenal, that's what I'm getting. I don't want him I don't want him there. But if I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at what's you win 150 million for winning the Premier League. That's more than he costs.
Yeah,
It's
there
worth
you
it.
go.
Go get him if you want to be a serious club, Arsenal. Let's talk about serious and unserious clubs. Milan Derby this weekend. AC Milan in a lot of trouble. Huge win last weekend against Venezia in Serie A, and then rocked against Liverpool. Liverpool doing the thing that they love to do, which is play unserious football for the first 7 minutes, and then wake up and realize, hey, we're good at this thing, and then dominated Milan on set pieces, 2 goals by 2 center backs, both fullbacks with assists, and then a Cody Gakpo excellent assist to Szoboszlai. Inter really hard fought point on the road, one of the toughest um, road places to go, not in terms of atmosphere, but just in terms of who's on the other side of the ball in Manchester City. Holland didn't do much. They handled defensively really well. Um, Lautaro didn't start. Lautaro no goals yet to start the season
Yeah, it's
for
off to a rough
Inter.
start. It's tired.
Inter and over 2.5 is plus 130. Inter team total over 2.5 is plus 215. Over 3.5 goals is plus 180. Hitting 4 or 5 Milan matches this season. Oh, by the way, Mike Mignon injured in that Liverpool game.
A
Probably
goalie you've never heard of starting.
yeah. Because their backups also hurt, which means like a teenager I think is playing for
Yep.
Milan or something like that.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's not looking good. It's definitely not looking good. Shame on us for believing in Milan early on in the season. They've duped us, and it's not even them. It's the coach Fonseca. He stinks. Like he was away from Italy for a while, so I forgot how much he stinks. And now we're seeing it. 4 or 5 games in, they look terrible. They just have really no flow considering all the offensive talent that they have. The defense is in shambles. Mike didn't look good before this injury. I think he might have even been kind of injured before this happened. Um, so they are, yeah, definitely in shambles. I think this is probably Fonseca's last game. He would have to win it to keep his job going, and I don't see that happening. I like Inter to score in both halves, plus 145. Um,
ooh.
just seems like a good as bet as any. They have to get going. Like you said, Lautaro really hasn't done much, but Thuram has looked good. I think Taremi in his limited minutes has looked good so far, but the midfield is just clicking. I mean, it doesn't really seem to matter who's playing. They have it on cruise control, and this should be a straightforward win. I'm pretty sure Milan hasn't beaten them in like 8 straight games or
Yeah,
something like
eight
that.
straight games. 8 straight games, which is that's a derby game. Like,
Yep.
um, yeah, that's gonna be such a great game Sunday afternoon. I know everyone's gonna be watching NFL, but I think Inter's the auto play if you're looking for just a money line lock to throw into an NFL parlay for Sunday afternoon. Inter money line. Um, Speaking of parlays, we can jump to my both teams to score parlay, which I've been doing okay with these so far this season. Plus 296. It's all Prem this week, all Saturday. Leicester, Everton, which we talked about, both teams to score easy. Spurs versus Brentford. Been very impressed. Brentford haven't done great, but they've done enough so far that they're not going to be as bad as they were last season. And Tottenham gave up a goal on the road in the Carabao Cup to Coventry. They've been very fraudulent. I think they'll win, but both teams to score. And then I like Palace, Man United, both teams to score there. I think Palace has done well of scoring at home. Man United will probably get one on the end, plus 269 for that. I'll
I
take
like it.
that. Couple quick Euro plays. Barca over 2.5 of Villarreal. Barcelona, disappointing result in the Champions League today, but they've been very good in La Liga, scoring a lot of goals. Lamine Yamal's the real deal. And we spoke about Atalanta earlier. Let's see if they can bounce back. They're playing against one of the worst teams in Italy, playing Como. Atalanta on over 2.5 is minus 105. Atalanta on over 3.5 is plus 240. The over 3.5 on its own is plus 164. Great bounce back spot for Atalanta.
Yep.
Try to get their ducks in a row. Over Atalanta on over 2.5 might move to even money, which is very good, but even minus 105 is solid odds. What are your thoughts on Como? Because you watch more Serie A than I do.
Yeah, listen, before the season started, it's a newly promoted team, darling of fans because it's beautiful, scenic area of the country. And I don't know, they have an American owner or something like that. I don't know, or somebody's American in the whole situation. So everybody got hyped. And Fabregas is the coach, right? So everybody was super hyped on that. Signed a couple players that you've heard of. Plus 900 to go back down, like a newly promoted team, and you're getting plus 900 to be relegated. To me, I've just never seen anything quite like that. So I took it. So I'm rooting for their downfall. So I'm with you 100%. I hope they lose every game. They haven't won yet. They do have some points, but let out a lot to pour in 4, 5, 6 goals on them. I'm with you.
Yeah. All right, brother. This has been quick and easy. It's not 15 minutes, but it never is for the two of us. Appreciate you jumping on. Appreciate
Thank you for
everybody
having me.
listening. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple or um, Spotify, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, hit the 5-star button, do that thing. Help us as we try to help you. Let's continue to have some great days betting. We need some positive karma after brutal last couple of days of Champions League. We have Europa League next week. We got Carabao Cup next week. And then we're back to it with more club football on the weekend, and then it's Champions League again. And then I think after that there's another weekend, and then I think it's international break. I don't know. I'm lost. There's just football every day, which is a great thing. I'm not complaining. Oh, autoplay Sporting at over 2.5 every all the time. Sporting Lisbon, and you can play their team total over 2.5. They're playing in Portugal. Um, yeah, go follow Nick at Nick Dianni. It's been above his header on YouTube the whole time. And you can follow me at Angel Passaro. You can follow the Plus Money Podcast at the Plus Money Pod. Let's have a great weekend, everybody. We'll catch you next week.